Right, can everybody hear me? All right, morning. My name is Judge Kathleen McHugh. I'm going to be presiding over magistrate hearings this morning. The issue of probable cause and then set the appropriate bond, if applicable. I will also appoint the Public Defender's Office for any of you who wish the services of the Public Defender's Office today.
Still never heard anything, so I guess we just try one last ditch effort this morning.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Audio. Okay.
All right, we don't have anybody next door to address this technical problem. Morning, everybody. My name is Judge Kathleen McHugh. I will be presiding over the magistrate hearings. I have reviewed all the probable cause affidavits for each of your cases, and I will determine the issue of probable cause, and if applicable, I will set bond for each of your cases and tell you what the bond amount has already been set at. If any of you would wish the services of the Public Defender's Office, I will appoint their office to represent you here today. Kayla Fowler.
Paul Ryan, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Fowler, you're here for a violation of probation on a misdemeanor charge. You're being held no bond. Your next court date has not been set yet. So I would imagine you will be going to court one day next week. Can you hear me okay?
Is that the...
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you.
It's not the... Oh, I didn't...
Loretta Thomas.
Mainfield?
All right, Loretta Thomas. All right, morning. You're here for a toucher, strike, battery, domestic violence. I do find probable cause. Doesn't have any clarification.
Your Honor, it's really hard for us to hear what's going on in the courtroom.
You can't hear me good? Still?
There's some sort of distortion. I can hear you, but if anyone else is speaking, I won't be able to hear them.
Okay.
Your Honor, it's just traffic fires.
And Your Honor, we be requesting an order to take photographs of Ms. Thomas.
Being that she has no prior criminal history, I'm going to release her on her own recognizance.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And your request to take photographs is granted. I'm going to order that she not have any direct or indirect contact with the listed victim in this case. If she's in the possession of any firearms or ammunition, they need to be surrendered to her local police department. Ebony West.
North Broward.
North Broward?
All right, you're here this morning for a grand theft and an illegal use of a credit card. I do find probable cause. Your bond has been set in the amount of $1,000 on count 1 and $1,000 on count 2. Joshua Maxwell.
Conti, Your Honor.
Mr. Maxwell, you're here for a violation of probation on a misdemeanor charge. You're being held no bond. Your next court date will be June 17th at 1:30.
I wouldn't have both
William
been.
Boyd.
I can help.
Mr.
Copy, Your Honor.
Boyd?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're here for a violation of probation on a misdemeanor. Being held no bond. Your next court date will be set probably one day next week. I don't have a date to give you right now.
All right, Judge Kathleen. Judge Kathleen.
Yes, sir.
I have a charge of domestic violence. All right.
All right, you're being held on a violation of probation. You probably get a court date next week.
Okay.
All right. LJ Upko Janevsky.
Dang it.
Main jail? All right, so
Main
you're
jail.
on case on a misdemeanor charge. Your bond has been set for the amount of $2,000.
For a
Probably get a
recess
court
statement.
date next week. I don't have a date to give you today.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Christian Gonzalez. All right, you're for Dr. Strike battery, dating violence. I do find probable cause to detain you.
Grand Theft 2010 with the vehicle.
State of the recommendation for bond.
Your Honor, one moment. Bless you. Based on based on the allegations and his prior offense, I would be seeking $2,500 bond and victim contact.
Your Honor, we're asking if the court would be inclined to impose either an ROR or a pretrial release. He's been here for the last 13 years. All of his family and friends do live here. He currently works at Brio in Gulfstream. And from speaking with him, he hasn't been arrested in the last 3 or 4 years.
All right, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $1,000. No contact directly or indirectly with the listed victim. If he's in the possession of any firearms or ammunition, they need to be surrendered to his local police department.
Thank you.
Errol Watson.
Judge, he's over at the North
Medical
Broward.
reset, Your Honor. He's a medical reset.
They're saying medical reset. But
Okay,
Judge,
medical
maybe
reset.
if prior to resetting it tomorrow, my only issue with this probable cause affidavit was proof of service. It's just 2 sentences. He doesn't.
It says by his own admission he was served, and this was confirmed through court records.
You don't have the actual injunction though. There's no
I-
injunction number in there.
Let me just see, we can confirm that it is on Odyssey.
Sorry, just check that out before tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll check that out tomorrow. William Rodriguez.
Main jail.
All right, Mr. Rodriguez, you're here for an aggravated battery, probation violation, and 2 writ of arrests. Probation violations, you're being held no bond. The 2 writs of arrest are in the amount of $366 for the first one and $226 for the second. Does the defendant have any prior criminal history?
One moment.
Your Honor, it's really hard to hear with the static, so I'm sorry. We're just trying to strain to hear you.
All right, well, I can't get any technical support because nobody's next door, so I don't have any way to fix the problem. Going next door again to see if anybody's there.
Okay, thank you.
You want me to wait, Judge, or do you want me?
Yeah, we'll wait.
Okay.
See if they're next. If they're not next door, then.
Virginia. I know she has all the numbers.
Okay, all right, nobody's next door to assist us, but we are making calls to try and address the problem.
Okay, thank you.
Does the defendant have any prior criminal history?
Yes, Your Honor. In addition to cases on probation for 2004 possession of cocaine with intent to sell or distribute, just under 41 and a half months state prison. 2000 delivery of cocaine with the VOP, same prison sentence. 1999, excuse me, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon with the VOP, same prison sentence.
They have a recommendation for bond.
Your Honor, due to his prior aggravated battery and the level of violence alleged in this case, the alleged victim suffered a dislocated jaw on both sides and a fractured jaw. I'd be requesting a $25,000 bond on count one.
Public Defender's Office have anything to add?
We've been requesting something a little bit more reasonable. At this time, he is unemployed. He has lived here all of his life. If he's released on the violation of probation case, he would have to pay a separate bond on that, possibly. He's indicated that his family may be able to afford something around $1,000, but $25,000 for him in his position would be tantamount to no bond.
The level of violence on this aggravated battery charge, I am going to set bond in the amount of $20,000. Next court date for the probation violation is June 15th at 9 a.m. No contact directly or indirectly with the listed victim in this case. Maine Bowens. All right, Mr. Bowens, you're here for a violation of probation on a felony and 2 capiases on felony charges. You're being held with no bond on the 2 capias charges. Violation of probation. Why is that required here?
I'm sorry. It's a mistake.
Is that an error?
It was done in error. It's no bond.
Right, you're being held no bond on the violation of probation. So all 3 cases are being held no bond. Your next court date is, you have 2 court dates. For the violation of probation, it's June 22nd. And for the felony charges, it's June 18th. Not entitled to a bond on the 2 cases.
No,
For
Judge.
failure to appear?
Yes, there are failures to appear, Judge.
Nicholas Cipriano.
He's in court, Your Honor, this morning.
Well, Your Honor, we would ask, this is an upfile from violation of pretrial release conditions to aggravated stalking. We would just ask that the bond was originally set at $50,000, so we would just ask that it be placed back at $50,000.
All right, but he's not here. So
He's in court. We met.
why don't we reset this for tomorrow? Jason Griffin.
Conti, Your Honor, he's also at court.
Okay. Reset that. Tony Brown. Tony Brown.
Main jail?
All right, Mr. Brown, you're here for a violation of probation on an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 22nd at 9:30. Monica Hillerball Kazar.
North.
All right, you're here for a violation of probation on a misdemeanor charge. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 15th at 1:30.
Judge, may I ask her a question?
Yes.
Have you been screened by medical?
Yes, sir. I'm in the infirmary right now.
Okay, and has somebody taken photos of your injuries?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lynette Weaver. Lynette Weaver.
Name jail.
All right, you're here for 2 KBCs on 2 traffic charges and a KBC on a misdemeanor charge. And bond has been set, a total amount of $1,500.
Your Honor, we're asking if the court would consider releasing Ms. Weaver on her own recognizance. These cases are really old, and so there was issue with service, and so we're asking if the court would consider releasing her. She does have to go to work tomorrow.
Problem is, the rules of criminal procedure don't permit an ROR when someone fails to appear. So she's going to have to post these bonds. I'll tell you what,
she never received a notice.
I will reduce this to $100 each.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Idella Montgomery.
Yes, Your Honor.
Broward.
Are you here for a violation of parole?
Yes, ma'am.
Bond. I don't have
Yes,
a future
ma'am.
court date to give you.
She's at.
Okay, thank
she's
you.
at the,
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're nice.
Carolyn Campbell. Carolyn Campbell. Everybody phones here to me. Everybody hear me okay?
The static is still prevalent.
They can hear me, but there's static. They can hear static. Yeah, they can hear me. All right. You're being charged with grand theft, illegal use of a credit card, and fraudulent use of an ID. I do find probable cause. Bond has been set on count 1 in the amount of 1,000, count 2 in the amount of 1,000, and count 3 in the amount of 3,500.
Your Honor, would you consider a lower bond in this case? She is currently employed. She has 4 children. She works at the Broward Girls Academy. She was actually supposed to go to work today, so she's missing work. And so she's been here all of her life, but $5,500 in her position is
She have priors?
too expensive.
She's getting information.
She was arrested in Country County in 2011. Okeechobee County in 2010. She had issuing worthless checks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 counts.
All right, she's going to have to post a bond.
And Your Honor, she's indicating to me that those charges are dropped.
Okay.
A couple were.
You were. Yanae Doe.
Your Honor, my apologies if I can on Ms. Campbell. Would Your Honor sign an order allowing her access to retrieve phone numbers from her cell phone?
Yes, I will.
She doesn't know anyone's number? Okay.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yanae Doe. Are you here for a violation of probation on a felony? You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 15th at 9 a.m. Elizabeth Pozo.
North Broward.
Good morning, Judge.
All right, good morning. You're here for a violation of community control on a felony charge. You're being held no bond. Next court date is June 15th at 8:30.
Can I just ask you a quick question though? I finished, like, once I found out I violated, I went to a 28-day program for rehab.
All
And
right,
I
well,
was
you need
wondering
to
if there's,
discuss that with your judge when you go to court for your first hearing on your violation of probation.
okay, and June
Okay, John
15th.
Jennings.
Main jail?
All right, you're here for a grand theft. I do find probable cause to detain you. Your bond has been set in the amount of $1,000. Jasmine Burgess. Are you here for possession of PVP? I do find probable cause. Your bond has been set in the amount of $1,000.
Thank you.
Melissa Gracia.
Paul Ryan, Your Honor.
You're here for grand theft. I do find probable cause to detain you. Bond has been set in the amount of $1,000. Amanda Garrison.
Your Honor, Miss Garrison is a medical reset, and
Thank you. All right, thank you. Alma Griffin.
she's also a medical reset.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Luis Sanchez.
He's at North Broward also, Your Honor. Right here, man.
For Mr. Sanchez, you're here for violation of probation on a misdemeanor and a capias on a misdemeanor, ordinance violation. Bond has been set in the amount of $100 and you've been ROR'd on the ordinance violation. Your next court date is June 18th at 2:30. Jeffrey Fishman.
Sorry, main jail, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Fishman, you're here for a capias on a misdemeanor charge. Your bond has been set in the amount of $500. Your next court date is June 15th at 11 a.m.
Your Honor, would you consider releasing Mr. Fishman on pretrial release? He's indicating that at the time that he had this court date about 6 months ago, he was homeless, which is why he didn't receive notice. He does have a stable residence at this time. He is living here in Fort Lauderdale, so he's asking if the court will consider releasing him on pretrial.
Date, does he have priors? Or any failure to appear history?
He was arrested in 06 on a failure to appear.
No, I'm not going to do that. He's got a prior failure to appear. Robert Miller.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Miller, you are here for a capias on a misdemeanor charge. Bond has been set in the amount of $200.
Judge, will the court reset this matter for the afternoon? It is municipal ordinance.
Anybody here on this case? All right, we'll reset
Keller, Your Honor.
Your
We're
Honor,
going to reschedule that for this afternoon for the city prosecutor to be here and for an attorney. Lee Luoma.
here we said reset.
Lee Luoma. All right, you're also here on a capias on a misdemeanor charge, a municipal ordinance violation. Bond has been set in the amount of $50. We'll reschedule this for this afternoon for the city prosecutor and for counsel. Jason Rocha. Okay, we're going to take a 2-minute break to replace a microphone. Counsel, do you have something you want to call?
Sorry.
I've got Curtis Lee Mulder, M-U-L-D-E-R, Your Honor.
Yes, please. M-O-U-L-D-E-R?
No, M-U, M-U-L-D-E-R. I haven't seen the doc.
Is no docket there?
There's nothing here now. Oh, now there is. Yeah. I'll look, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm not going to cut you. Making sure she sees me.
Page 20. Thank you. Have you looked?
Yeah, I'm on page 27.
So way over right there anyway. Who are you here for?
What's that?
Who's your guy? Okay, good. Good. Yeah, here we are. I thought that was good.
Thank you. We're all good?
All good.
All right, thank you. For the attorney. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Judge.
All right. We have counsel present in court in regards to Curtis Mulder.
Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Becker.
Is this Mr. Mulder?
No.
Where's Mr. Mulder?
He's approaching, Your Honor, in main jail.
All right, Mr. Mulder, you're here this morning in regards to an aggravated battery causing bodily harm, criminality, and also leaving the scene of a crash and damage. Bond has been set in the amount of $250,000 on count 1 and $20,000 on count 2.
Michael Becker on behalf of Kurt Mulder. Judge, can I speak?
You may.
I've known Mr. Mulder for a good 15 years. He's lived in Miami for 30 of those years. He has a job for the past 10 years. He's an extremely passive individual. I've read the affidavit, and it really is completely out of character for Mr. Mulder. I don't believe he has any priors, and we certainly can't make a $270,000 bond. He's got limited funds. He's definitely not a flight risk, and I don't see him as a danger to the community. I've read this affidavit. It's just a total aberration from the Kurt Mulder that I know. Do you have any prior statement?
Jay.
Your Honor, I just see a prior possession of marijuana 2002. That being said, I believe these bonds, based on these allegations, are not inappropriate, Your Honor. What's alleged here, and I believe the evidence is strong, an independent witness verified these allegations. I mean, clearly, Mr. Mulder put this woman's life in serious jeopardy. First, forcing her into essentially oncoming traffic at an intersection, then by intentionally striking her car, causing her to go off the road, striking a tree, fracturing 5 ribs. It could, a pregnant woman no less. This could have been a lot more. This could have been a lot worse, Your Honor. Frankly, I think it's. I'm thankful that this woman didn't suffer even more serious injuries. So, and the fact that he then left the scene, Your Honor, causes me concern that he's a flight risk just based on the nature of the allegations.
Your Honor, if I can respond. I can honestly say that I've been speaking to Mr. Mulder over the course of the last 2 years. I know the insurance company has been investigating, and they're claiming that the marks on his vehicle have nothing to do with the marks on her vehicle. This incident happened allegedly on May 23rd, and I think we're June, so apparently the police didn't put the case together all that quickly. And I can say I've known Kurt Mulder for a long time. This is completely out of character of the man that I know. He's extremely passive. I couldn't imagine him harming a bug. And I can tell you this much, that $270,000 is basically tantamount to no bond in this case.
Anybody from page 28 on?
One moment.
Came from the infirmary. He came late, so he was.
It doesn't. It just says that she was pregnant at the time. Your Honor, I would note. I mean, this incident allegedly occurred May 23rd, and the warrant was signed June 5th. So actually, I think 12 days to get sworn statements and investigate is actually pretty quick time to considering that allegedly Mr. Mulder fled from the scene.
Cordero Lewis.
Judge, I can say this much, that I haven't had a chance to investigate any of these allegations.
I'm going to leave the bond as is set, and you can go in front of the trial judge to request a bond.
All right, Kurt, I'll come see you, okay? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
John Rocha.
Sign right there. This is simply for Fifth Amendment.
Mr. Rocha, you're for,
Were you arrested by yourself?
petty theft from a transit agency, second offense. Bond has been set in the amount of $25. I do find probable cause.
I got it. Your Honor, Mr. Rocha would like to inquire whether the court would consider releasing him on his own recognizance. He would live here in Fort Lauderdale.
I'm seeing that he was just arrested a month ago. I'm just checking to see what for. Arrested May 1st.
The same thing?
I'm checking that right now to see what he was arrested for. No, he was arrested on a capias at that time from a 2009 DWS, so I know he's had at least one prior failure to appear.
Yeah, I'm not going to release him with failure to appear history.
Would Your Honor consider resolving?
The state have an order.
One moment, Your Honor. Just have to check his record real quick. Your Honor, he has multiple priors for drugs, trespassing. He's got 4 prior felony convictions, 1 prior misdemeanor conviction. State's offer would be adjudication 5 days.
All right, if he wants to resolve it, I adjudicate him guilty, sentence him to 5 days in jail. Do you want to take that or not?
Your Honor, would you consider releasing him on pretrial release?
No, he's got a failure to appear history. All right, I'm not going to take a plea from him. Counsel, do you want to call a case?
Yes, sir. Thank you. On page 27, Michael Trisnar. It's T-R.
You said Trisner?
Trisnar. T-R-S-I.
Prisoner.
Trisnar with a T.
T with a T.
27.
Trisner's here.
Okay.
Good morning.
Okay.
Age, please.
Michael Trisner, we have counsel present in court. Sir, you're being charged with 1 count of robbery by sudden snatching. By probable cause. Does the defendant have any prior criminal history?
Just 1 moment, Your Honor.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental health issues?
Patrice, he's not on my list. Do you have anything?
Probation for anything?
Thank you.
Were you injured when you were arrested? 10 cases. Prior felony, crime misdemeanor, been used before? Never, never, never? You're not going to lose a record to me, are you? Sir, you want, go ahead, please sit down. You're in your application for a public defender. You're going to press down hard on this paper. How many of your children do you support?
No, I can tell you with that charge, he was arrested, and then the next day he was released. They never filed charges. It was a mistake. He was entering into his girlfriend's house that he lived at, and a neighbor called the police. He was arrested. He was released. It was never filed.
And they're going to put a 0 because you're not working on the
Your Honor, just be seeking a $3,500 bond, no victim contact.
Social Security, unemployment, Workers' compensation, retirement.
It's fine. I mean, I don't. It's a third-degree felony. I think that I know there's no convenience bonds anymore, but a convenience bond on a third-degree felony would have been $1,000. I would ask for a $1,000 bond. There's nothing egregious about this case. In fact, there's a dispute as to who was actually the aggressor, which was pretty well defined in the probable cause affidavit. So I think I'm saying anything that's not already written down. So I'd ask for a $1,000 bond. Thank you, Judge. Have a good day.
Thank you, Judge.
Sir. Never mind, I got it. Excuse me. Not him. Start over here. Sign your name.
Are you here for a violation of probation on a misdemeanor charge? You're being held no bond. Your next court date will be June 15th at 10 a.m.
Zero. I've got nothing to do with that. I'm not a lawyer. All I do is listen to work.
Thomas Williams.
No. Just sign your name. Do you have any children?
Carrying a weapon or device.
Sign your name right here.
You work. Bond has been set in the amount of $100.
Your Honor, would you consider releasing Mr. Williams on his own recognizance?
Does the defendant have priors?
One moment, Your Honor.
Or in the alternative, pretrial release?
Circle these notes, and these notes, and
Here he goes. Yes, he does, Your Honor. His priors include.
And then you're going to put your address and phone number on the next line. Do you owe anybody any money? Credit card?
All we did.
Battery 07, DUI 06, DUI 06, Battery 05, possession of oxycodone, alprazolam 04, robbery with a weapon 2000.
All right, he's going to have to post bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Danny Warren. All right, Mr. Warren, you're here for 3 misdemeanor capiases on 3 misdemeanor ordinance violations. Bond is total amount of $300. We'll reset this for the afternoon for the city prosecutor and counsel.
And, Your Honor, if possible, if we could, I have a detective, President Court, if we could call a couple cases at a turn on 19 and 20, Malcolm Cooper and Tyrone Salter.
All right, we're going to call Malcolm Cooper and Tyrone Salter. They're co-defendants, I imagine.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let's start with Malcolm Cooper.
19 and 20.
All right, Mr. Cooper, you're here on 6 counts. 1 grand theft, 2 committed theft, resist recovery of property,
Share the podium.
3 grand theft, 4 committed
You have
theft,
attorney.
count 5 robbery with no firearm,
Prior felony.
count 6 retail theft,
Will you arrest for yourself? Mr. Cooper and Mr. Salter.
I couldn't hear you, Judge. What's the bond?
Total bond amount right now is $1,000 on count 1, $100 on count 2, $100 on count 3. I'm sorry, $1,000 on count 3, $100 on count 4. I need to set bond on count 5. Count 6, the bond has been set in the amount of $3,500. Does the defendant have priors?
Your Honor, what's going on, and I'm very concerned, I believe that's the detective's concern also. Mr. Salter and Mr. Cooper were arrested in April this year as co-defendants in a burglary of Walgreens and grand theft. They are both currently out on bond on those cases.
When they made bond on that initial arrest, they subsequently, within 24 hours, did another one in the city of Hollywood at another Walgreens. At this point, they made...
Stop 1 second. Raise your right hand. Swear firm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I did.
Place your hand down. Please state your name for the record.
Detective Walter Mays, Hollywood Police Department.
Okay. Everything you just told me was true.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But
you may continue.
Yes, in the subsequent case after they made bond, they actually put this clerk in fear of her safety, and actually Mr. Cooper did make physical contact with her, pushing her away from him while he was stealing cartons of cigarettes from behind the counter where he was not supposed to be. Hence the robbery charge. So basically, I feel that he had defaulted on the first bond that was set when they were released, when they went out and committed a subsequent crime within 24 hours. And then now they are arrested on a third case where they did the same thing in Pembroke Pines 2 days ago.
Okay, all right. State?
Well, Your Honor, it's up to the court sua sponte today, but clearly it's the same two individuals acting together. At this point, there is no reason really to believe that there's any conditions. I don't know if there's any conditions the court can set to really give much security that they're not going to commit a burglary or try to steal from another business in the community.
Okay. Yes, would you like to be heard?
Tyrone's mother.
Okay, want to raise your right hand? You swear firm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
You place your hand out. We state your name for the record.
My name is Kendra Brown.
Okay, what would you like to tell me?
I'm trying to
We're not on Tyrone's case yet. We're on Mr. Cooper's case. But go ahead. What would you like to tell me?
He was stating that something happened after Tyrone was arrested.
Yes, they were arrested on the 21st, released. Okay.
Released on the 22nd.
I don't know. Your Honor, I don't know. I'm just trying to avoid having.
I don't want you two to talk to each other, but you can talk to me, ma'am, okay?
Judge, you mind if I ask her questions as to Mr. Salter's ties to the community, just specifically as to that?
Yeah.
How does Mr. Salters live with you?
Yes.
How long? How long is he from South Florida?
Yes.
Okay. Does he go to school?
He's supposed to be going to school. He's getting all of that straightened out, fixed up right now. He's supposed to be in school at DCC, but we have to go get his transcript and everything. That's what he needs in order for him to continue doing everything that he needs to do.
And when would he be enrolled in school?
As soon as possible. That's why, like right now, I'm off and I'm trying to get all of that taken care of.
Is he working right now?
He's working at Miami-Dade Transit, but however things keep on happening, and the guy said he was going to start him back working.
How much bond, if the court were to set a bond in this case, how much could your family afford the bond amount?
I'll have to do whatever I could.
I mean, if you could give me a number. The reason I'm asking is the judge is going to set a bond in the case, and if you could just, I understand you'll do whatever you can, but how much could you afford?
I'm going to I probably can afford like $500. Whatever I have to do, what I have to do. If I have to borrow it, whatever I have to do.
Okay. And Judge, at this time, with regards to both defendants, I'm going to invoke their right to remain silent.
Okay. All right, the state have a recommendation for the setting a bond on count 5.
Some additional information I just found out, Your Honor, with regards to Mr. Salter. Are we on Cooper right now or Salter?
On Cooper.
Okay. Just one moment. Your Honor, my recommendation just on count 5 would be $15,000. But again, while it's
right, I understand he's looking at a bond revocation on the original charge. All right, so on count 5, I'm going to set bond
in Miami also.
Oh, I don't know.
In the amount of $15,000. Yeah. And I'm going to sua sponte revoke his original release for what's the case number?
Your Honor, the case number for Mr. Cooper is 155217 CF10A.
Okay, so his bond is revoked on that.
Hasn't been filed yet, but he's been out. It's not one of those where he was held in 30 days and released.
Okay, all right. His bond is revoked on that charge, so he held no bond in the custody of the Broward County Sheriff's Office. And now we are on Mr. Salter.
Now,
State have the same recommendation as to count.
yes, well, actually, no, Your Honor. I'm actually going to be seeking a higher bond, $25,000, and I'll explain why. Information I just found out.
Good morning, Judge.
Since I last addressed the court, Mr. Salter's also been arrested twice in Dade County in the month of May. Once on May 7th and another time on May 26th, both for grand theft. So now, including these two separate cases, he's got 5 open.
All of those are no action cases, sir.
Your Honor, I'm showing they're still open in CCIS, the clerk system. So he's been arrested essentially for 5 different felony allegations since April 21st of this year.
Judge, with regards, I got into his ties to the community. You heard the mom testify. He was working for Dade County Transit. He is in the process of going back to school. He does have strong ties to the community, and I would like to remind the court that allegations in Dade, he's not convicted of those allegations. He is presumed innocent. So I would ask the court to set a reasonable bond as to Mr. Salters.
All right, Mr. Salter, let me go ahead and magistrate you here. You're looking at 5 counts. Count 1 is grand theft. Count 2 is grand theft. Count 3 is commit a theft to resist recovery of property. Count 4 is robbery with no firearm. Count 5 is retail theft.
And Your Honor,
Your
Honor, if I may, just a correction. In speaking with Mr. Salter, he indicated he is already enrolled in school. He actually starts tomorrow. He's enrolled in an SLS course, physics, and also a business course. He has school from 9:30 to 12 noon.
All right.
So he is already enrolled.
Okay, thank you. Bond on count 2 is $1,000. No charge on count 3. What's the state's recommendation as to count 4?
Because of his 2 additional arrests and date, I'd be recommending a $25,000 bond.
All right, I'm going to set bond on count 4, in the amount of $20,000. And count 5, bond is set in the amount of $3,500. Is the state also requesting
We would recommend, yes, Your Honor, that the court respond to.
What's the case number?
15-52-18 CF10A.
Okay, I'm going to sua sponte revoke his bond on that case number. So he's going to be held in custody of the Broward Sheriff's Office on a no bond hold in regards to that case number. All right, thank you,
Your Honor.
So when do we go to court?
Richard Holloman.
It takes forever to get a court date from Broward County.
That's it.
So how
Richard
can I
Holloman.
go to court?
They'll mail something to you. You don't. It's no court date or anything.
You there? Okay.
I have him in jail.
In jail? Where's Mr. Holloman? All right, Mr. Holloman, you're here for a petty theft. Second offense, I do find probable cause. Bond has been set in the amount of $25.
Your Honor, are you interested in resolving this case?
No, Your Honor.
Pay attention here.
Your Honor, well, let me just confirm. Well, Your Honor, I have to confirm one particular issue that would prevent me from making an offer at this time. Yeah, no, I just need to confirm it. Right now. Yeah, I know, I just want to see, I'm showing it. Oh, no, it is. I'm sorry, I'm looking at one thing. Your Honor, Mr. Holloman is a registered sex offender, so any offer I would make would involve jail time, and that could also make him potentially eligible for involuntary civil commitment. So I can make an offer. I don't know if...
I'm not going to entertain any offers today for him to resolve this. He can go ahead and postpone. All right, next case. Which case was that I just did?
Holloman.
Okay. William Shaw. William Shaw.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Shaw, you're here for a capias on a misdemeanor charge. Your bond is set in the amount of $1,000. And your next court date is June 15th at 1:30.
Your Honor, there's an issue, and it's also indicated in the probable cause report. Mr. Shaw has informed me that his cousin, whose name is Albert Shaw, date of birth January 1st, 1960, who's listed on the probable cause affidavit, is the person that the state is actually looking for, and he has been wrongfully arrested before in his cousin's name. And so I'm not sure if the state can maybe roll prints, or if we can set this for Monday or something so that this can be resolved, but he's indicated that this has happened to him before, and he's not the correct person that they're looking for.
The jail can roll prints. I mean, I can say that I'm looking at the aliases on his booking, and this is just for him, because this is just, these aliases are aliases he's used, because it's it's connected to his BCCN number, which is connected to his fingerprints. So, I mean, I'm a little suspect when I see how many aliases he's used in the
Right, well,
past.
apparently the state's indicating that he uses numerous aliases, so.
Yes, Your Honor, the date of births are totally different. His date of birth is December 26, 1959.
The date of birth here is the date of birth he's given. I don't know. For all I know, he could have given different dates of birth.
Okay.
Date of birth.
All right, he's going to correspond in this matter. Next case, Darrell Owens.
Your Honor, would you consider releasing him on pretrial release?
Do you have prior state?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm just looking at the aliases. I mean, yeah, put him on jail. Let's see if he's failures to appear also. Yes, Your Honor. He's one moment, there's a lot here. All right, Your Honor, first off, I'm showing he's got 2 open felonies right now. Loitering and prowling, felony petty theft he went to prison on. Delivery of cocaine he went to prison as a habitual offender on. 2 more thefts. Resisting without violence and unlawful use of false name identity. Burglary of a conveyance, resisting without violence that he did 4.5 years as a habitual offender on.
All right, your request is denied. Darrell Owens. Are you here for 2 violations of probations on 2 misdemeanor apparently 2 traffic criminal charges? You're being held no bond for each.
I hear
Your next court date is June 18th at 2:30. Sean Ray. You're here, sir, on 5 misdemeanor capiases, for which you're being held no bond on all 5. Your next court date is June 16th at 9 a.m. Jameer Jefferson. Mr. Jefferson, you're here on a misdemeanor capias. On a misdemeanor ordinance violation, bond has been set in the amount of $250. We'll reschedule this for this afternoon for the city prosecutor and for counsel. Robert Murphy.
North Broward, Your Honor.
Mr. Murphy, you're here on a capias on a misdemeanor charge. You're being held no bond. You should be going to court shortly. I don't have a date to give you, sir.
Is that today, do you know, or?
Probably one day next week, sir.
And I don't have a bond because I have three kids at home. No.
The no bond capias. And Antonio Walker.
Thank you.
Mr. Walker, you're here for 2 counts of petty theft in the 1st degree. I do find probable cause. Bond has been set in the amount of $100.
Your Honor, would you consider releasing Mr. Walker on pretrial release? He's indicated he's tried contacting family to bond him out, but he can't reach anyone.
No, Judge. Actually, let me just. He had an arrest in 2011 for uttering and dealing with stolen property. Those were dropped though, and he had a possession of marijuana in 2011.
All right, sir. I'm going to ROR you to standard pretrial supervision.
Thank you.
Do you have a permanent address, sir? You have an address.
5121 Northwest 30th Avenue, Miami, Florida 33142. House or apartment? House. And the phone number 954.
No, don't.
What do you think?
Javier, I'm sorry, Francisco Javier Salazar Diaz.
Walker.
Okay, you're here for Driving with a suspended or revoked license. I do find probable cause. Bond has been set in the amount of $25. Herman Leon. Mr. Leon, you're here for operating without a valid driver's license and failure to wear a safety belt. I do find probable cause. Bond has been set in the amount of $25. Marco Monterosa Duban. You're here for operating without a valid driver's license and failure to wear a safety belt. I do find probable cause. Bond has been set in the amount of $25.
Unit, is there a Spanish interpreter there? I'm sorry.
We don't have one here. We can order one now.
What is it?
An interpreter.
My apologies. Okay.
Do we need an interpreter or not? Yes or no for the Spanish interpreter?
Yes, we need a Spanish interpreter.
Okay. Devanette Suki.
Paul Ryan, Your Honor.
All right, you're here for 2 capious charges on 2 felony cases. You're being held no bond on both.
Yeah.
So what?
This is third co-defendant. Remember, we had the two co-defendants yesterday, Michael Ford and the other one. They were being held on 2 counts of robbery, firearm. There was an add charge of armed burglary.
Okay.
Mr. Suki is the third co-defendant who's been add charged with the armed burglary. I provided the original PC with a supplemental report.
Judge, may I inquire if he's represented by an attorney? Sir, do you have a lawyer?
I got a PD.
You got a public defender or a conflict attorney? Who's your attorney?
Conflict attorney.
Conflict attorney?
Orlando, I don't know the last name.
So you have a conflict PD?
Yes.
Michael Orlando? Michael Orlando? No, it's not Michael. Michael Orlando?
Yeah.
Is this a Judge Orlando? Michael Orlando is your lawyer?
No. He's not. Orlando Bush.
Orlando Bush is your lawyer. Okay, all right.
Okay. All right. I do find probable cause.
And Your Honor, on count 3, we would be seeking no bond under proof evident presumption grade just based on the supplemental report. The same finding that was made on the 2 counts of robbery firearm, which arose from the same allegations that he's currently being held no bond on.
Public defender have anything in contradiction to that?
I can't represent him. He's already appointed counsel in these cases.
All right. Okay, I'm going to find proof evident presumption grade. He's going to be on count 3. He'll be held no bond.
And whatever you want to set on.
If he's on the felony, he's entitled to that one. He's entitled to bond on that.
Yes, he is, Judge.
Okay, and what's the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, the convenience bond's $2,500. I'm fine with that at this point.
All right, set bond amount of $2,500.
Or it was $2,500. And Your Honor, I can just advise Mr. Suki, he's scheduled for arraignment before Judge Contini on Monday, June 15th at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, sir. Abraham Jackson. All right, you are here on several habeas felony charges.
It looks like they're add charges, Your Honor.
That's what appears to be, yes. At charge 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
What's that?
Bond on each of these charges is $1,000.
Keep that with me.
on count 9, 1,000 on count 10, 1,000 on count 11, 1,000 on count 12, 1,000 on count 13, and 1,000 on count 14. Next court date is June 15th at 8:30.
I believe that's going to be his arraignment.
Eric Spriggs. Mr. Spriggs, you're here for a case on a traffic charge and 2 probation violations. Bond on the capias charge is set in the amount of $250, and you have 2 no bond holds for violation of probation. Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30.
Your Honor, he is entitled to a bond on count. Well, do you have him come back?
On which one?
Count Spriggs is entitled to a bond on count 1, 6, and 7.
Case we just did?
Eric Spriggs?
No, not on Spriggs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought.
I'm sorry. We are on Eric Spriggs. These are. I have 10 is a KP.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just
11 is
giving.
a probation violation.
I'm sorry. I was just giving his entire booking sheet, so that's all I saw.
Okay.
Sorry
All
about that.
Okay. Next one. George Brown.
Nobody's perfect.
George Brown. Mr. Brown.
Approaching, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown, here for Grand Theft Auto.
Arms out of your shirt.
I'm sorry?
2 false identification of Leo. 3 driving while license suspended. 4 attached registration license plate not assigned. 5, 6, 7, 8 are all misdemeanor capiases. If you find probable cause, bond has been set on count 1, the amount of 1,000. Count 2, 100. Count 3, 750. Count 4, 25. Count 5, 100. Count 6, 1,000. Count 7, 1,000. And bond on the final count is 500. Your next court date is June 15th at 1:30. And you have a second court date on June 18th at 2:30. Chad Barnett. Chad Barnett. All right, Mr. Barnett, you're here for a violation of probation on a felony. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30. Chad Barnett. Mr. Barnett, you're here for a violation of probation on a felony. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30. Trey Turner. Here for a violation of probation on a felony. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 16th at 8:30. Philip Hunt. You have to turn. Can you turn the mic on? All right, Philip Hunt. Mr. Hunt, you're here for a violation of probation on a felony. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30. Edgar Portella. Here for a violation of probation on a felony. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30. Charles Parker.
Eric Linder.
Here for violation of probation on a felony charge. You're being held no bond.
Oh,
Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30.
What's going on in this defendant? The court found no PC because there's no details about what actually happened. There needs to be more details.
Carrie Rainey.
Have you done an event report on this yet? Okay. Would you be able to get your hands on it?
You're here for a violation of probation on a felony. You're being held no bond.
Be right now.
Your next court date is June 16th at 8:30.
This morning. Do you know if it's been submitted to records?
Eric Fraga.
Let me check with records. Okay, can I get your cell number?
You're here for a violation of probation on a felony. You're being
that?
held no bond. Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30.
Yeah, but here's a problem, right?
Christian
No bid
Williams.
report. It's all electronic signature, right?
Your Honor, he's in court today, so he's not present.
All right. We'll reset this.
Okay.
Judge, at this time, I'm going to invoke his right to remain silent.
All right, good morning, sir. You're charged with burglary with an assault or a battery and a second count of carjacking. I do find probable cause. You're being held no bond on the first matter, and your bond has been set in the amount of $100,000 on the second charge.
Your Honor, actually, and the state is going to be seeking no bond under proof evident presumption grade. I provided a investigative action report on this case.
All right, has the public defender's office seen this?
I've reviewed the probable cause affidavit. Judge, I'm not in a position now to make arguments. It's our understanding the pressing case, we're asking the court to exercise discretion in setting bond in this matter. But I don't have an argument as to proof evident presumption grade.
Had this before.
I'm sorry?
You would have had this before.
What do you mean?
Sit here, read it.
I'm sorry, Judge. By the time I printed it out, we had started. I apologize. I mean, Your Honor, if you want, I could proffer. I know counsel has reviewed it already, so I mean.
As to count
the
carjacking.
No, the carjacking is actually bondable.
Okay.
This is to count one, the burglary with assault or battery.
All right, which is already being held no bond on that.
Yeah, but the court has, there's no evidence there was...
Finding, proof evident, presumption grade.
Exactly, Your Honor.
All right, based upon the investigative action report, I'm going to find proof evident, presumption grade.
And I don't know if the court wants to hear the state's position as far as the defense's request for the court to set a bond.
Your Honor, in your consideration of bond, just some things about
just hold off. Just hold off 1 second. I just want to know if the judge is going to exercise discretion in setting bond before getting into his ties.
Okay.
I'm not inclined to do that at this point, based upon what I've read in the investigative action report. You can go in front of the judge assigned to this case and request a bond.
And
All
just...
Right, we have the interpreter.
Good morning, Your Honor. Spanish interpreter present.
Just, Your Honor, before we go in abundance of caution, I'd also ask just for an order of no victim contact.
All right. Also, sir, no contact, direct or indirect, with the listed victim in this case.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. We have the interpreter here on Marco Monterosa Duban.
He stepped outside, Your Honor.
May the interpreter,
know when he's there.
may the interpreter inquire, Your Honor?
Yes.
Buenos días, damas y caballeros. ¿Alguien necesita que se le interprete su caso en español? Por favor, levante la mano.
All right, let me know when this defendant comes back in. I'm sorry, Madam Interpreter.
No.
All right, Philip Deronin.
I need to check
Right, you're
prior
here for a violation of probation on a felony. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30. Joseph Kasich.
That's not Joseph.
All right, sir, you're here for...
Your mic is not on.
We're back on the case that I think we need to
Mic is
interpret.
not on, and she.
Which one is this?
That's a Spanish interpreter, but her mic is not on, so we can't hear her.
Sorry, this is a Spanish interpreter case.
Okay, so you have an attorney. You're going to public court, and the next one you're going to put how much you make and how much you make it, okay?
Marco Monterosa Duban.
Marco Monterrosa Dubán.
You're here for one count of operating without a valid driver's license.
Lo acusan de estar operando un vehículo sin una licencia válida,
Failure to wear a safety belt.
no cumplir con ponerse un cinturón de seguridad.
I do find probable cause to detain you.
Encuentro motivo fundado para detenerlo
Bond is set in the amount of $25.
e imponen una fianza de $25.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Joseph Kasich.
And
Thank you, Madam Interpreter.
you're welcome, Your Honor. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Bye.
With regards to Mr. Kasich,
Where is it? No, where's Joseph Kasich?
Joseph Kasich, he's making his way up. Judge, will the court ROR him? It seems that he has a no bond hold out of county. Will the court ROR him as to count 2 so he can go handle putting it?
1,900. Okay. All right, sir. You're here for unlawful speed posted in a municipal state road. Driver presents non-current proof of insurance, failure to wear a safety belt, license not carried or exhibited, and count 5 is an out-of-county felony hold for which you're being held no bond. Bond is set on count 2 in the amount of $100. State have any objection to me ROR?
No, Judge.
All right. I'm going to ROR you on count 2, sir. Good luck to you. Jamal Simmons. The what? It is? Milton Dowdy. All right, Mr. Dowdy, you're here for violation of probation on a felony charge. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30. Jamal Simmons.
He's approaching.
All right, Mr. Simmons, you're here for possession of PVP, driving while license suspended, possession of cannabis, 20 grams or less, and improper change of lanes. I do find probable cause. Your bond has been set on count 1 in the amount of $1,000.
Your Honor, would you consider releasing Mr. Simmons on pretrial release?
Does he have prior state?
One moment, Your Honor.
He has a possession of cocaine with an intent to sell in 2011. Resisting without violence, 2011. Grand Theft Auto, 96. Escape from 96. Robbery,
No, he's going to have to post bond. Next case, Troy Smith.
Your Honor, Mr. Smith's a medical reset.
Okay, thank you. Medical reset. John Jalemis. All right, sir, you're here for possession of cannabis, 20 grams or less, and also a probation violation. I do find probable cause. Bond on count 1 is set in the amount of 100. No bond for the probation matter. Your next court date is June 16th at 9 a.m. Exhibit tie. Where's Mr. Ty? DAI. All right, you're here for a grand theft. I do find probable cause. Bond has been set in the amount of $1,000. Ricardo Parlade. Parlade, you're here for possession of PVP, disobeying a stop sign, expired tag, less than 6 months. I do find probable cause. Bond is set in this matter in the amount of $1,000.
Would you consider him for pretrial release?
Even if the court does not speak the bond off, based on the information we received from his family, we're going to ask that he be supervised by the trial subject to their evaluation and randomly announced. They said that this particular
Okay, all right. Yes, counsel, anything you want to add?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I couldn't hear anything she was saying.
They're putting him, pretrial is recommending that he be placed on pretrial release with a drug rehab component. Would he have any objection to going on pretrial release?
It's a residential rehab. Is that what they're recommending, or
they're recommending pretrial release? He would have to get a drug evaluation with any follow-up treatment, standard pretrial.
That's fine.
I have to do that anyway.
There also would have to be a mental health screen.
He's agreeing to this, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to reduce the bond to 500. Standard pretrial supervision. He's still going to have to post a $500 bond. Standard pretrial supervision needs to have a mental health screen within 30 days of being placed on pretrial. Needs to have a substance abuse evaluation. I want that substance abuse evaluation done within 15 days of being placed on trial.
Your Honor, would you consider releasing him on his own recognizance? He's indicating that he's tried reaching family members, but he can't get in contact with anyone to post a bond.
They're all out of state.
No, I'm going to leave it at
All my
500. He needs to have a substance abuse evaluation within 15 days of his release, following the recommendations. And one random drug and alcohol screen, a minimum of 1 time a week. That's it. All right, Keith Robertson. Take yours next.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Keith Robertson. All right, sir, you're here for trespass, failure to leave property, and also a probation violation for which you're being held no bond. I do find probable cause. Bond is set in the amount of $25. Your next court date is June 16th at 8:30. All right, we have another matter that's not on the docket. Antoinette Evans, Mr. Greenwald's in court.
Thank you, Your Honor, for allowing me to come in again. On Ms. Evans, I provided the email string to your judicial assistant and to the division email. The last word we got back from Ms. Ziegler, judicial assistant to Judge Karen Miller, is that Judge Miller has no objection to an ROR. And you can see from the entire string, not only did I include the emergency motion that I had filed on Monday, but in addition, I went into detailed explanation as to when she was placed on probation, what she was placed on probation for in front of that division, the length that she has been on probation, what she was picked up for here in Broward County, and so they're fully advised, and Judge Miller has no objection. I have a printed out copy of the...
Copy of that to the state attorney?
I did.
Well,
Do you have it?
No, here's the thing. I don't, but also I really, since this is strictly a Palm Beach issue.
Right, I know, but
okay.
I want...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was forwarded to court docs. the state attorney's email filing. And I have a printed out copy, hard copy, if the court wants to review it.
Yes, can I see your printed out copy? It's
Sure.
easier than reading it on my phone. Do you have a copy for?
I'll give it a glance over when Your Honor's done.
Okay. All right, so as of Wednesday, June 10th at 2:26, Judge Miller's office replied that Judge Miller has no objection to an ROR. So, all right, Mr. Linder, you want to review that? Second to last page. All right, so do you want to draw up a short order to the effect that...
I think the way we would need to word it is that I'll put her arrest number and that the 948.06 hold is hereby deleted. Because she's already ROR'd on the traffic tickets, there were no charges. Obviously, they weren't even arrestable offenses. It was the 948.06 hold itself, based on those traffic tickets.
Why wouldn't she be ROR'd on the 948 hold?
Well,
she'd be ROR'd on it.
And I also think that's the quickest way.
I think it's going to be that there's not a probation violation. I think she's going to be ROR'd on that.
That's fine.
And I think also that's probably the quickest way of just a straight ROR. The jail.
Whatever's easier. I just.
All right.
That's
Get
fine.
as much information in there as you can to make sure that there's no problem.
Right, and that's the issue, because there's no technically case number for that.
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
Okay, all right.
And Your Honor, for the record, I just note this, Your Honor, I've reviewed the emails and it appears completely as Mr. Greenwald has represented to be, so.
All right, great. I'm glad we were able to resolve that.
Thank you, Your
Okay,
Honor.
thank you. I figured that was the quickest way is to get to the judge rather than dealing with probation in Palm Beach and.
I appreciate it.
Okay? All right, we have Carmen Etienne. All right, you're here for 2 violations of probation on 2 separate felony charges. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 16th at 10 a.m. Gualberto Gonzalez.
We're requesting a photo order for Mr. Gonzalez.
Okay, granted. All right, sir, you're charged with 7 counts. Count 1 is petty theft. Count 2 is possession of cannabis, 20 grams or less. Count 3 is possession of alprazolam. Count 4 is resisting without violence. Count 5 is trespassing. Count 6 is a violation of probation on a felony. Count 7 is also a probation violation. Those 2 probation violations, you're being held no bond. I do find probable cause. Bond is set on count 3 in the amount of $1,000. And your next court date is June 16th at 8:30. Alan Moore. All right, Mr. Moore, you're here for a violation of probation on a felony charge. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30. Cadera Lewis. All right, you're here on 6 charges. Count 1 is ag assault with a deadly weapon. Count 2 is ag assault with a deadly weapon. Count 3 is ag assault with a deadly weapon. Count 4, ag assault with a deadly weapon. Count 5, criminal mischief. Count 6 is criminal mischief. Does the defendant have any priors?
Patrice, he's not on our list. Do you have anything?
Bond on counts 5 and count 6 has been set in the amount of $100 each.
You have some argument for bond?
Yes.
Okay. This appears to be Mr. Lewis' first arrest. He's currently enrolled at Palm Beach State College. He's pursuing his associates in business. He's been employed at Kushi Sushi, and he recently just resigned from Alamo, where he was working before. He lives alone here in South Florida. He's been here all of his life. He does have family here. He's really close with his mom, who also lives here in South Florida, but he does live alone. This is an incident that occurred at his home involving someone trying to tow his car from his parking spot. So it does seem to be an isolated incident. We're asking if the court will consider a reasonable bond on this case. He's indicated that he can afford $2,000 if Your Honor was inclined to set a $2,000 bond.
Does he have prior state? Were you able to verify?
No
All
problem.
right, first time in trouble? Okay. Does the state have a recommendation for bond?
Your Honor, just based on the level of violence alleged, I would be asking for $5,000 per count.
$5,000 per count?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't think there were any injuries or nobody was taken to the hospital.
All right. I'm going to set bond on count 1 in the amount of $1,000. Count 2, $1,000. Count 3, $1,000. Count 4, $1,000. Total bond is $4,200. No contact directly or indirectly with any of these listed victims.
His name is William Hoover, G-U-L-A.
Travis Davis.
You have the event report? Would you be able to email it to me? Yes.
All right, Mr. Davis, you're charged with possession of a weapon or ammo by a convicted felon. The second count of possession of weapon or ammo by a convicted felon. Possession with intent to sell, manufacture, deliver, PVP. Count 4, possession with intent to sell, manufacture, deliver, cocaine.
Sorry.
Possession of cannabis,
No.
20 grams or less,
SAO 17.
and also a grand theft charge.
Well, now I'm trying to remember.
Bond on counts 3.
SAO 17.
Count 3 is set in the amount of 1,000. Count 4, 2,500. Count 5, 100. Count 6, 1,000. I do find probable cause. Does the defendant have any prior criminal history?
2011, possession of cocaine with intent to sell with a violation with a violation. 2008, possession of cocaine with intent.
All right.
Um,
Well, if you could do as good as possible, I need to for purposes.
Ran out of them.
Oh, thank you.
Possession of cocaine with intent to sell, 2004. Carry concealed firearm, 2003.
What's the state's recommendation for bond?
One moment, Your Honor. Does he have any weapons priors? Your Honor, just based on his drug priors and now drug allegations here with 2 firearms, I'd be asking for $5,000 per count.
Your Honor, he is indicating that he was employed. He was doing a demolition, doing demolition work. The project they were on just ended, and so he was in the process of signing up to receive his CDL license. He's been here all of his life. He has strong ties to the community. All of his family lives here. He does live with family here in South Florida. He's indicating that if family were to bond him out, that they can afford around $2,000.
Your felony charge, you're being held no bond. I'm sorry, the bond in the case is set at $40,000. And your next court date is June 16th at 8:30. All right, did you show this to Mr. Linder?
I did.
Yes.
Do you have any objection to it, Mr. Linder?
None at all, Your Honor.
All right, we're on. I'm reading an order in regards to Antoinette Diane Evans. Okay, that should get it done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
If there's any issues, I'll.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll be here tomorrow, so hopefully this will get it to the finish line.
I hope so too.
I do think 13 days in custody is an inordinately long time to transfer someone from one county to the next. So
Thank you very much.
I'm glad that we were able to fix it for you.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Brian Kirk. All right, Mr. Kirk, you're here for a petty theft, second degree, and also trespassing occupied structure. I do find probable cause. Bond has been set in this matter on count one in the amount of $750.
Your Honor, he's indicating that this shouldn't be a felony, that this is only his second petty theft. And so we're asking if Your Honor would consider a lower bond.
Wait. Does Mr. Kirk recall getting sentenced to 60 months in state prison for a felony petty theft out of 2012? No. Well, okay, then I think that there's...
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Nice try. Curtis Richard, you're here for 4 felony violations of probation. You're being held no bond on each of them. Your next court date's June 16th at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna ask them because I don't think they're armed, but I'm waiting. That's what I'm waiting for. Wilton Manners to call me back.
Todd Sherbensky. All right, Mr. Sherbensky, you're here on 2 violations of probation for 2 separate felony cases. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 16th at 9 a.m.
Could you do me a huge favor? Could you call back and let them know I got
Gerald
the report?
Patron, or Petillon.
Just tell them I got it through records.
You're here for a violation of parole. You're being held no bond. Joshua Rivera. You're here for a violation of probation on a felony charge. You're being held no bond. Your next court date is June 16th at 8:30. Gajabit Jakupi.
Your Honor, if possible, the next 2, Mr. Jakupi and Mr. Alchin, if we could reset these to the afternoon. I don't believe the officer for Wilton Manners intended for them to be armed, but I'm waiting to get a call back to confirm.
All right. All right, we're going to need to reschedule Mr. Jakupi and Mr. Alchin for this afternoon.
I'm just trying to avoid asking for 24
because we need
hours.
additional information from the arresting officer as to whether or not they should be charged with an armed offense.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Next case, George Ortiz.
Did you grab those for me?
All right, so you're charged with 1 count of grand theft and a second probation violation. You're being held no bond on the probation violation. I do find probable cause. Bond on the grand theft is set in the amount of $1,000. Your next court date is June 15th at 8:30. Sean Clark. Mr. Clark, you're charged with possession with intent to sell, manufacture, deliver cannabis, resisting an officer without violence, drug paraphernalia, possession with intent to sell, manufacture, deliver cannabis, and also a 5th count of drug paraphernalia. I do find probable cause. Bond is set in a total amount of $2,000. Vaughn Gale. Charged with fraudulent uttering of a false instrument, possession with similitude of a driver's license. Count 3, resisting without violence, and 4, there's a writ of arrest. Writ of arrest has a $400 bond on it. I do find probable cause. Bond is set on the other charges in a total amount of $2,100. Brian Genhold. Mr. Genhold, you're here for burglary of an unoccupied dwelling, grand theft, false ownership information for pawned items, dealing in stolen property, and also a probation violation for which you're being held no bond. I do find probable cause. Counts 2, bond is set in an amount of $1,000. Count 3, $3,500. Count 4, $3,500. Does the defendant have any prior criminal history?
Yes, Your Honor. Just a moment. I'm sorry, Judge. I lost my system. I just need one moment. I don't know if the defense has any information they want to advise the court of. If you want.
To the burglar.
Yeah, Your Honor, I see he had a battery last year. Also, just so the court's aware, because I know it says trafficking stolen property for the VOP, but it actually was a total of 5 counts of dealing in stolen property, 1 count of grand theft, and 2 counts of false ownership info on a pawn item. Because of the priors that are close in nature to the bird dwelling here and identical to the other charges, I'd be asking for a $15,000 bond on count 1.
$15,000 on count 1?
Yes, because, Your Honor, because it involves someone's residence and not a business or a car.
The house was abandoned. Nobody's been living there since 2014, right?
Well, one moment, Your Honor. No, it took a laptop from it. Allegedly took a laptop from it, so I don't think someone had left their laptop.
No, I'm just saying, the victim said he reside there, right? Since 2014. I don't know. I mean,
all right.
I'm guessing since there was a laptop there that somebody was residing there.
All right, on count 1, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $5,000. Your next court date is June 16th at 8:30. Cedric Carson. Mr. Carson, you're charged with possession of cocaine and driving while license suspended, third or subsequent offense. I do find probable cause. Bond has been set in the amount of $1,000 on count 1, $750 on count 2.
Your Honor, would you consider pretrial release for Mr. Carson?
Your Honor, his priors include.
$1,750.
Okay.
Good morning.
DWS habitual offender from last year, DWS habitual offender from 07, possession of marijuana 05, possession of marijuana, unlawful use of false name ID 03, DWS habitual offender 04, DWS 02, possession of marijuana 99, resisting without violence 98, delivery of cocaine 95, year and a day, battery on a child 89, grand theft 90.
All right, that request is denied. Bobby Williams.
Patrice. I don't know if it's a pretrial.
Williams, you're here for 2 felony violations of probation.
I don't don't know if it's a pretrial issue.
for which you're being held
Remember,
no
that's
bond. Your next court date's June 15th at 9 a.m. DeMarcus Gardner. Sir, you're charged with possession of PVP and a probation or violation, a probation violation or community control violation. I do find probable cause. Bond is set in the amount of $1,000 on count 1, no bond on count 2. Your next court date is June 16th at 8:30. Howard Guthrie.
Medical reset.
James Thomas. Oh, Lionel.
I gave the order.
This name. Lionel?
Absolutely. Judge signed it. Judge remember signing it.
Darius Thomas.
Oh, we're going to have to figure this out.
All right, sir, you're here for possession of cannabis, 20 grams or less, tampering with evidence, and also a parole violation. You find probable cause. Bond on count 2 is set in the amount of $1,000. No bond for the probation violation.
I'm sure it's
I don't
nothing's
see
in
a
Odyssey
future
yet.
court date.
I'm sure nothing is in it. What's the case number?
Lionel Joseph.
Paul Ryan, Your Honor, he's in the AM court.
Okay, all right, we'll reset this then.
They're going to have to wait.
You have two perfections.
Your Honor, I apologize. I got.
They're gonna, just give a second. Yeah, I don't, he said he did the order, so I don't know why.
All right, let's call John Milkovitz. Is he there in the main jail? All right, so my issue yesterday was the defendant claims he lived at the same residence and, oh, sorry.
Yes, and
the same address was given by the listed victim and by the defendant.
And I have a report here from Detective Panetti, very thorough, detailed report with evidence that he can claim he was, but he moved out previously. He had no key. He broke a window to get in. His specifically talking to his mother says he did not live there. She never invited him in. She couldn't have invited him. There was no one home when he broke in. He also says during the statement, that's my house. Then he changes, that's partially my house. There's evidence he doesn't live there. He rents a room at another location. That's where he was actually arrested, where he rents the room.
No court order.
We'll see here.
Defense have anything in opposition to that? Okay. All right.
Asking, he previously lived there. It seems to, from here, he does have a drug problem. The swords in question are antique swords, antique World War II swords, which I would ask the court to exercise discretion in setting a bond, maybe a rehab component, pursuant to our understanding of the Preston case. Preston v. Gale.
All right, so the state's
Your Honor, my
on on setting a bond on the armed charge?
Your Honor, the state's position is respectfully, of course, that if the court finds proof evident or presumption great, that there is no more discretion at first appearance, that there is only one type of hearing in Florida criminal procedure that gives the court discretion to set a bond after a finding of proof evident or presumption great, and that's an Arthur hearing. Clearly, this is a first appearance. It's not an Arthur hearing. An Arthur hearing can only be held upon written notice from the defense, where the state is given proper amount of notice and can present witnesses to the court. Additionally, Preston, and I know I made the argument to Your Honor the other day, this interpretation the defense is given comes from a paragraph of dicta in Preston, which the court states we would have given a bond at first appearance, which clearly is tied to the court's finding, and what the holding of the case is that they found that there was no proof evident or presumption great. Lastly, there is an administrative order for the 17th Circuit, which states, if the court finds probable cause on a punishable by life felony or capital offense, that it should go immediately to its assigned division for an Arthur hearing per Arthur v. State. Now, admittedly, we have to satisfy a higher standard than probable cause, but clearly the intent of the administrative order is that no bond be set here once the legal standard is met, not establishing what the legal standard is. So for those reasons, Your Honor, I'd ask if the court finds proof evident or presumption great, that that the defendant be held no bond and the defense still has the right and opportunity to seek an Arthur hearing in front of the assigned division.
All right. I have, based upon what I've reviewed today, what the state has supplied to me today, the case supplement report, I do find that proof of guilt is evident, presumption of guilt is great. Will be held no bond on armed burglary.
And Your Honor, and I apologize, I can't remember if Your Honor ordered yes or not, just in abundance of caution, I'd ask for an order of no victim contact.
All right, so you're not to have any direct or indirect contact with the listed victim?
Yeah.
Understand that? I know it's your mother, but you're not to have any contact with her. All right, next case.
Yes, Your Honor, this was aggravated assault with a firearm. Your Honor, and admittedly, so you found the initial report was complete. I provided an event report a supplemental report from Deputy Preston, which goes into more detail. No, I remember I had to cross out his and put it doesn't make sense to write another one because they just haven't put it into Odyssey yet. But if I write another one, it's going to be the same problem. It's going to be paid for the Odyssey.
All right, defense have any argument?
Rely on his ties to the community.
All right, so on Mr. Gula's case, ag assault with firearm and find probable cause, does the state have a recommendation as far as bond?
Your Honor, I would, and I will note for the record, we actually had, this was to a certain extent a cross arrest. You had the alleged victim yesterday afternoon. He was arrested for battery. And he had no priors, and I believe you ROR'd him. Your Honor, because there is an allegation of a firearm in this case, I would be asking for a $7,500 bond, no victim contact.
Judge may just briefly inquire as to his ties to the community. Mr. Gula, prior to your incarceration, where were you living?
Up here, 906 Northeast 25th Avenue. I've been working basically there every day, 5 or 6 days a week. I am in daily contact with this man. I think he's a little insane.
Don't talk about the facts of the case. I just want to establish your ties to the community. The state is recommending a $7,500 bond. I'm asking.
What we're asking for?
I don't know his ties to the community. Maybe if you could get proper his ties, I'm asking the court to consider a lower bond, or if he can afford $7,500.
Right.
Okay. At this time, he cannot afford $7,500. He's been here all his life. He is employed. He's asking if the court would consider an ROR, a pretrial release. From my understanding, it seems like this whole case is in a misunderstanding, but he doesn't have anyone that can afford the $7,500 bond for him. He has no prior arrest. He will show up to court if ordered to, if this case is filed and it proceeds to court. He has no indication or inclination not to show up or run for these charges. He's been here for the majority of his life. My apologies.
1970, yeah.
All right, I'm going to set bond in the matter of $3,000. No contact directly or indirectly with the listed victim in this case. If you're in the possession of any firearms or ammunition, they need to be surrendered to your local police department. $3,000. Good luck to you, sir.
Your Honor, just one last matter.
Yes.
My recommend, Ms. Gabor's here with her son.
Oh, okay, good.
Well,
Happened.
You have ordered us.
Sir. Apparently, the clerk's office is not accepting the passport because I don't think it's been put into Odyssey yet. I mean, clearly, I know you remember.
Right, yeah.
You had me correct the pronoun.
Right. Within
and,
24 hours, she is
yeah,
to
so,
surrender her passport. And the clerk won't take it?
Because I guess they checked in Odyssey.
They don't see the order.
Because it hasn't been scanned in yet.
They haven't seen the order. Can we get a certified copy of the order here and just have her go bring it down to the clerk's office?
I guess if the court wants it.
Does she have the passport right now?
Yes.
You do?
We have it on
Why
us.
can't would the clerk take it right now?
They said that they
Without the orders.
need something from us.
I can write another one. I don't know what to do, but I don't.
You need to go to the window downstairs. If you go correct the board, go to the window downstairs and I spoke to the supervisor.
Yeah, but the order's going to be up here. That's all I was asking.
They can take a copy of the order. I mean, they want me to certify.
Okay.
I can take the original.
Okay, sure,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right, great. Glad we figured that out.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Well, it's all about solving problems.
Can I go with the...
Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, if I can make a small request on William Gula, I know that Your Honor ordered no contact with the victim. He indicated that his car is still on the victim's property. So if he's released, can he go to the property to just get his car back? He's saying that
Your Honor, I would have no objection if he went with in the presence of a uniformed law enforcement officer one time. No objection.
All right, sir. I'll bring you to return to the listed victim's residence one time with the presence of a law enforcement officer to retrieve your car. All right, we're going to get an order to that effect.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Possible.